up, my friends? How are you guys doing today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, I hope that you are loving yourself and loving the ones you're with. Guys, today we are talking about a movie from 1986, directed by Enzo G. Castellari and Luigi Cozzi. This is Sinbad of the Seven Seas, guys. Before we hop on this ship and start sailing around the Mediterranean or wherever it is Sinbad sails to, hit that like and subscribe button for me because we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about how in 1989, I was like 6 years old, right? And now, I probably wouldn't have seen this when I was 6, but if I would have, this would have been right up there with Conan the Destroyer and, the Beastmaster, Kull, or Krull. Like, this is one of those epic fantasy films. And now, this is made by Canon, okay? And we all know Canon films, Jorm Golan and Minham Globus, whatever their names were, they made some of the most ridiculous low-budget 80s films that are absolute freaking classics, right? And to me, this is no different. I kind of wished I would have seen this back when I was a kid. When, 8 or 9-year-old Chris would have seen this, I would have eaten it up with a spoon, dude. You could not have made me turn this off. It has everything that you could possibly want. It's got rock monsters. It's got hulked up Lou Ferrigno. He's the Hulk. We all know him as the Hulk. And this is a little bit after the Hulk. But he's like still ripped. And he's not that great of an actor, right? Lou Ferrigno was born partially deaf. He was born, so the way he spoke wasn't really conducive to being a great actor. So he's being voiced over in this by William B. Connor. And so you can tell it's dubbed. You can tell it's voiced over. But really, why do we have Lou Ferrigno in this? Because he's a jacked up bodybuilder, dude. I'm used to seeing Sinbad as a small Arab man who's like a swashbuckler. He's like a pirate. This is more like I said, like Conan. Like he's this big jacked up dude swinging a sword, picking up things that are impossible to pick up and throwing them at things and taking them out. Like he's Conan. He is Conan in a different time period, in a different setting, in an Arabic setting. You know what I mean? But it was fun. And it was entertaining because it had practical effects. It had, major motion picture special effects where, he's got to collect these gems to save his city, right? There's evil Jafar, not the Aladdin Jafar, a white dude named John Steiner playing Jafar. John Steiner was also in Caligula and Tenimbre. And John Steiner's in this playing Jafar. He's a white dude, not an Arabic dude, playing an Arabic sorcerer. We got Lou Ferrigno going to all these different islands to retrieve these gems to restore order to his homeland. And there are moments where he's fighting something, right? And he gets one of these gems and all he does, he poses. He just flexes and he holds those gems like this and you just see his, striations and his giant pecs and his arms. And he just is like, ugh, and then it just shoots lasers. All he had to do was pose, right? And that's all that Lou Ferrigno really does in this. It's just he looks good and he poses. His body looks like $1 million. And he poses. His voice is done by another dude. And his stunt doubles you can tell they're stunt doubles because they're not quite as jacked as he is. Put it that way. There is a scene in the film where he has to fight himself. And you can tell when he's grappling and, they have the camera from behind and you see the other dude back of his hair. You can tell that is not himself he is grappling with. You know what I mean? But it's still fun because it is cheesy, because it is goofy, and because it is pure late 80s schlock. Okay? I'm not watching this for award-winning performances. I'm not watching this for fantastic special effects. I am watching this because I'm a fantasy nerd, right? I like elves, I like dwarves, I like orcs, I like Dungeons and Dragons. I like fantasy films. And to me, 80s fantasy was the best fantasy. 70s, late 70s, all the way through the 80s. Best fantasy films you'll ever see. And we can argue that all day long, but for me, that's the case. And this is just right up there. It has everything that hits all the buttons for me personally that I want in a fantasy film. You got a great hero. He's got this crew of eclectic characters with him. He's got a samurai guy who's played by Hal Yamanuchi. This guy, he was in The Wolverine. He was in Push. He was in The Life Aquatic. So this guy's been around for a while. He has a Viking character with him. He has a prince with him. Like, he has this entire eclectic, all these characters, all these charismatic, different characters that flesh out the story. And they're not developed to the point where they each have their backstory. But if the director decided, hey, the samurai guy, I want to make a story for him, and we'll have Sinbad as a supporting character, that could work, because that's the kind of characters that are in this film. They're all unique in some way. They can all have their own story told about them. So we have, like I said, hits all the right fantasy buttons. You've got your great hero. You've got his accomplices, his henchmen, his compatriots, whatever you want to call them. You've got this incredible fantasy story of collecting powerful gems, a la Pirates of Darkwater. You've got all these different fantasy elements that come together to just make this something fun, something special. I would rank this up there. I don't even like Clash of the Titans, right? The very first one with the mechanical owl. I'm not a big fan of that movie. But I would rank this right up there with things like that. In the pantheon of fantasy films, this would be up there for me. Back in the day, even now, if I was to find a physical copy of this, relatively reasonably priced, I'd probably purchase it to add it to the collection. Same with the other films that I've reviewed recently, like Burnt Offerings and Black Sabbath and Die Monster Die. I would love to own all of those because they have all left an impression on me. There's not a whole lot of modern films that leave impressions on me where I'm like, man, I really want to own that, or I really want to revisit that at some point. But a lot of these older films that I've been watching lately have really impressed on me just because you could tell they were labors of love. They weren't films made by committee. They weren't films made in the boardroom. They were films where a director and a writer and a producer sat down and they said, this is my vision, this is what I want to make, and they did it, and it resonates. You know what I mean? So Sinbad of the Seven Seas, if you're a fantasy guy like me, if you like Willow and Legend, Clash of the Titans, if you like those types of films, this is right up your alley. This would be something I would highly recommend because it is just fun and it is entertaining, and you can put it on a Sunday afternoon when you get home from church, or you get done eating your Sunday lunch with your fam and your friends, and you can just pop on the couch, hit play, and just veg, man, because it's not hard to follow and it's highly entertaining. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out and talking about Sinbad of the Seven Seas with me. Give it a watch if you feel like it, guys. It's streaming on Prime. It's streaming on Tubi. It's worth your time. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging around. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And as always, my friends, I'm going to keep making them as long as you keep watching them. Peace out. God bless you, and I will see you soon.